Hello, hello, good night. Please let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me and see me? Just let me know. I'm supposed to be. Hello, good evening, Jermaine, Lorna. It's nice to see you. So I am on Facebook. I'm on Facebook and YouTube. So just let me know on both. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and just let me know you can hear me. I see YouTube. Hello, thank you, Lorna. Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you. So nice to see you. So I am hoping I'm going through a new platform, so I'm hoping to avoid some technical difficulties. So let's see if this works. Um, let me see. I should be on all the platforms. I'm seeing. Uh, yes. All right. So today I'm going to focus on questions tonight. So start putting, oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Jellica. It's nice to see you. I'm going to focus on questions tonight. I want to make sure that I'm getting to your questions. Put the questions in the comments so that I can answer your questions tonight. As usual, I come on here to answer questions and also to give you updates. And there's a lot going on in immigration right now, but I want to focus on your questions tonight. So put those questions in the comments, and I'm also gonna log into TikTok so we can also have our friends on TikTok join us with additional questions. Now, I have good news, and the good news is we have been getting good results. We got two work permit, two T visa work permits. Hello, Elizabeth. I'm so glad you're on Facebook. Thank you for confirming that you are here and you see me because I'm trying a new system here, so I'm just want to make sure it's working. So thank you for joining. Put your questions in the comments. If you have questions, go ahead and answer, go ahead and put those questions in the comments. Tonight, I'm only focusing on questions. This week, we had a really, really good, victorious week. We had a client come in to the office, get her green card. We had another client who we're waiting on the green card to come to the office because the interview went very well. And we got two T visa work permits, as well as many bona fide determination letters as usual. So we are very happy, and that means that our work where it's working. Our good work is they're benefiting families and individuals and enabling them to be safe during this time, especially this time of uncertainty and just a lot of volatility. Hello there on TikTok. Nice to see you. Is it true they canceled the asylum program? No, it is not true. No, here's what, and that's in litigation. What has happened is the refugee program is on hold. Refugees, where they're outside of the US, and they process them outside of the United States and then bring them into the United States. They have said on day one, the administration had put a hold on the asylum, the refugee program, but that's in litigation right now. So we may see that lifted. And then he is putting a hold. So this administration is putting a hold on the asylum green cards. That's also in litigation and up for challenge. So we might see different results. But applying for asylum here in the US, if you're here in the US, you meet the requirements of asylum, you should be proceeding with it, especially since there's a deadline of 1 year from the date of your entry. Hello on TikTok. It's so nice to see you. So I'm U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharif Attar. For those of you who don't know, what I do is I focus on giving you information that can empower you through your immigration journey. And I also answer immigration questions, and I know there are many questions right now. So put your questions in the comments. I'm so nervous about my process, but I have faith in you and your work while I'm trusting God. I'm happy to hear and see you on this evening. Oh, thank you so much. And that's what we're doing as well. We are doing the work, but we are wrapped in the fact that we know that we are protected and we're walking on faith. We're doing the right thing. We're on the right side here. And that keeps us going. And this week was just full of celebration because of the fact that we are being rewarded for that work. We are seeing the results of our work because we are here to represent hardworking, honest immigrants who have come to the United States to make a positive impact, are actually making a positive impact, but are instead facing a lot of harsh realities right now. And there is immigration relief available to help alleviate these pressures and for you to be able to work legitimately, to be able to live in security and confidence here in the United States. You just have to take the action. So thank you so much for your faith in me, and I know it is nerve wracking. There's no doubt, but even as this is a nerve wracking process, we push hard. We push harder. All right. Okay. So I see questions coming in. Put your questions in the comments. When does unlawful presence start after losing F1 status? When judge or USCIS inform you? No. So unlawful presence, what happens is you follow the status. The minute your F1 is expired, you overstayed or it expires, you are now out of status. When it gets to the 180th day, so the 6 month, then it will start to have negative consequences. When you get to 6 months of living in the US without your papers, then it means that you are going to, if you ever leave the US, you're going to be barred for at least 3 years. If that overstay, that unlawful presence time goes to 1 year, then it turns into a 10-year bar. So that's where you really have to hide there, Karen. You have to, it depends on the circumstances, but there are certain relief in place that does not regard the unlawful presence doesn't stop you from getting your papers. So this is why I say, if you're in a situation where you are facing something like that, you want to make sure you can understand the kinds of benefits and relief that is available to you based on what you qualify for. Unfortunately, not a lot of people know about the relief that's available, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, even other attorneys don't know. I practice in an area of the law that not a lot of attorneys pay a lot of attention to, right? They disregard the kinds of questions I ask individuals to figure out if they qualify for alternative relief. A lot of attorneys are not asking those questions. And because of that, they are missing the types of relief that individuals can get based on what they've been through. So if you've experienced something like mistreatment or abuse, then that is a starting point to give us a call and let's talk about the circumstances so we can understand whether it falls within a kind of category where you can get relief because of what you've been through. This is something that, if you've been through a number of attorneys, I know you know that the kinds of the topics that I talk about, they don't usually touch on those. All right. Is work permit safe? The work permit, you have the work permit, you are in a much better position. Keep in mind that work permit doesn't necessarily mean that you have permanent status. but it is a definite sign that you have permission to be here and it will protect you. You can travel with a work permit, you can work legally with a work permit, you can get your driver's license with a work permit, you can get your social security number with a work permit. And so that's why you are offered this protection while you're going through your process, or where you have T status. Now, in this case, in the past week, we did get 2 work permits for our clients who are waiting for the T visa process. And that's based on the bona fide determination process in place. So that offers our clients little more security, a lot more relief, because now they can confidently work. They don't hold working without a permit with when you're applying for a T, but of course that offers an extra layer of protection. Hello there, Marlon. It's nice to see you. Hi, Barbara. Please, can a U.S. citizen file an I-130 for me, even if he has a court case with his daughter? It depends. So not because just because they're a U.S. citizen does not mean they can file an I-130 for you. What's their relationship to you? Are they a parent? Are they a spouse? Are they a U.S. citizen spouse? Are they, I guess, even a child, right? Or a son or daughter? We need to figure that out to determine whether the I-130 would be appropriate for you here. Give us a call. Let's talk. Now, we have a 24-hour line going. That means we have our team is ready to answer calls. We want to make sure that if you're thinking about your immigration, what kind of relief you can get, you're thinking about this 3 in the morning, you can pick up the phone, give us a call, and we can then talk about some of those options for you. Okay. I usually put the number going across the screen. This time I did not, but the phone number is 561-405-4889 on YouTube, on Facebook. You can look at the description of the video. You'll see the link. You can also schedule your own appointment, by the way. So we're making it very easy to get in touch with us. Got married, case approved, got my green card, but never filed I-131. Can I travel outside of the US? I have good news for you. You have a green card. You don't need no more travel documents. You have a green card. You can do so much with that green card. That single green card means you have the status, right? That is proof of your status. That's proof that you have permission to live here permanently. It's proof also that you can travel and come back into the country. I would say just be very careful to understand the risk involved, your background. If you have anything in your background, like a criminal record, you definitely want to evaluate the level of risk you're going to face if you travel. But you have the right to travel without an I-131. However, if you are going to travel outside of the US and you have to stay outside of the US for more than 6 months, you want to make sure that you get what's called a re-entry permit so that they don't hold the fact that you've stayed out of the US that long against you and they'll let you back in. It also doesn't go against you when you're applying for citizenship. I want to talk in the inbox. Is it possible? We don't do personal consultations or legal advice during inbox, but we have the team is there. You can DM us. Thank you for reminding us. You can DM us, but that there is not where you're going to share your personal information. We still need to schedule a designated time with one of our attorneys here at the law firm. And we do offer an initial evaluation. So it means we just ask you questions to ensure that we're not wasting your time and money, that you are seeking a type of relief that we can work with you on. So start there and then get started on that initial, the consultation with the attorney. It is $150 to schedule with one of our attorneys. My attorneys and I work very close together to make sure that we are we are getting the cases that where we will feel we will succeed and that where our clients qualify for relief. Is it best thing to get married right now and do processing the paper? If you now, we cannot just go into a grocery store and pick up a spouse off the shelves. I wish that was possible, but we can't do that. So if you do not have that possibility, then setting up any kind of marriages, just for the sake of the green card is against the law. They are screening for that aggressively, and they have their ways of finding this out. However, if you're in a relationship right now, and you guys are ready to make that commitment, now is the time. Absolutely. You want to be able to move forward as a couple in a secure situation. Getting married and moving on those papers is going to be an ASAP thing, meaning you need to do it ASAP, right away. But keep in mind, and this is where you definitely need to make sure you get the right legal advice. Filing this too quickly without the proper documentation in place is going to cause you problems, because I say this now, there is no simple case. I think that's the number one misconception about immigration law that gets a lot of people in trouble. They believe that immigration is just paperwork. It is, and it is not. And because of that, sometimes people hire other people to fill out paperwork, hire notarios, or they hire so-called immigration specialists who really are not certified in any way. That's dangerous right now. Because every case you can expect, you should plan for a level of complexity. Because on the immigration side, they're not running through the applications. They are sifting through them. They're looking very carefully at evidence. They're questioning everything through fraud detection processes. So you don't, and yes, they have accused people, or they have been very skeptical about marriages, even when they were real. They have been skeptical about marriages that caused the couple a world of problems. Not necessarily, and here's where it happened. Not necessarily because they were being unreasonable in their accusations. But what happens is sometimes the evidence that's submitted is so scanty, it's so little, right? The couple thinks, we're married, we have a marriage certificate, we have a couple wedding pictures, that should do. And they assume it's going to be simple because they're legally married. But legally married is different than showing it's a bona fide marriage. Yes, you would think the two are the same, but being legally married is a legal process where you confirm that you're married on paper. As far as immigration is concerned, it's nice to show that you meet the threshold of a legal marriage. Any two people can get married now, right? And it doesn't have to mean anything. So what they want to see in addition to that is, are you intending to build a life together? That is where you have to show bona fides. And so some people think it's just to prove that you're married, and they submit those papers thinking all you have to do is show you're married. You do that, and then guess what happens? You get a very ugly RFE, you get a very messy, aggressive interview. Maybe they separate you in the interview, they do a second interview for fraud, because you didn't submit all the evidence to prove both you have a legal marriage and it's a bona fide marriage. Because of that, you're in trouble. You and your spouse are in trouble. And sometimes no matter what you say, it gets very hard to prove. So the key to succeeding in a marriage-based green card process, you need to start strong. So do not rush the quality. Don't give up the quality of your application for the speed of filing it. Make sure that you take the time. That's what we do for our clients. We make sure that we take the time to put a solid application together, because one, you'll find the process goes faster, right? With a process in place that is, it goes faster once they see everything is there. And two, you get the approval faster. You get a smoother interview because now they're doing interviews. You get the green card faster because now it's easier for the officer to make a decision. So keep that in mind for the marriage base, and we are very good at that. Give us a call. Let's talk. Hi, attorney. Please, can you brief us on USCIS new policy on submission of medical tests and if that applies to those who have applied for T visa? So, if you're applying for adjustment of status, you're going to have to submit the medical. Um, if T visa, it does not count for the T visa, right? You don't have to submit for the T visa. Now, what they have reversed is they made the expiration of the medical, it was indefinite, right? So once you did a medical, you didn't have to worry about doing a medical, no matter how many years went by. Well, they've reversed that policy. So now once again, there's a deadline. So if your process is, if you get a medical and you submit the medical, which we're now required to submit the medical with the adjustment of status application, that's another thing. But if they do that, they get it. But your process takes 4 years. It's probably under this administration, it's expired, and they're going to require you to submit another one after 4 years, right? The initial expiration before the indefinite was 2 years. So we're probably looking at that expiration date again. So those are the changes that have happened with the medical. I was threatened to be deported because I was unlawful and I paid 300 because I was promised H-2B. If this is your employer, give us a call. This is a classic example of trafficking, and I can tell you right now, because of what's happening, because of the policies in place, employers are probably cashing in more than ever, blackmailing people to work for them without pay, not paying them, telling them they're going to call ICE on them because of the policies. So I'm pretty sure this kind of labor trafficking is prevalent. It was prevalent before. I'm pretty sure it's happening on an elevated level again because of what's happening. Can you let us know how far they go back in criminal history for citizenship? So there's really no deadline. If they see something in your background, they can always question it and consider it. However, they are required to look at say if you had to wait 5 years to apply for citizenship, they're going to look 5 years backwards. Right. And they're going to look at any convictions within the 5 years. However, if the conviction was very severe, then they can go beyond the 5 years to consider whether to consider your good moral character, but also they may be looking at did that conviction, should it have rendered you inadmissible in any way or deportable, which can create complications. I always say, if you have anything in your record and you're going for citizenship, you need to stop, slow down, get a lawyer. We're here to help with that. All right. Let's see. My brother, citizen of Niger, was selected for DV lottery. If Niger is placed under a U.S. Visa ban, can he continue his case in an unbanned country if he's a citizen of another country? But unfortunately, no, if he's a citizen of the banned country, it's going to apply to him. Also, if he has legal residency in another country, would he be allowed to process his DV application there? So once again, they really are looking at citizenship. So if he was in the country, in the US, that would be a different thing. But if he's outside of the US, they are going to definitely limit him based on the ban because of his citizenship. He did not apply for DS-260 yet. Should he go to Secure and apply there and save to be banned to the travel for the travel ban? So I'm not your attorney. I can't give you individual legal advice. And of course, navigating this ban is new even for us, right? We have to go back. We have some experience with it from the first ban, but we have to also navigate this again because now it's even on a broader scale. So in this case, I would not be able to straight up say go to another country. If he has citizenship from that country and the ban applies to the DV lottery here, then he will, and they're gonna probably not move forward with DV process in those banned countries. So in this case, it doesn't matter if he goes to a third country. If he was here in the US, maybe that would have been a different thing. My wife is a green card holder. She filed a case for me. It's going 1 year, 7 months. I'm in Jamaica. What is the waiting time going now? Online was saying 16 months. Now it's not showing anything. So I would say the entire process, realistically, expect about 2.5 to 3 years. It depends on your priority date. So the date on your I-130, if your I-130 was approved and the priority date is current, then they'll start processing it at the embassy. But here's the thing that I'm seeing is you get through all those hurdles and guess what happens? You are waiting another 1.5 years at the embassy for your interview. So realistically, it's really a 2.5 to even a 3 year process. I'm forced to work 7 days per week, even double without asking me. Give us a call. If you're going through that, we want to hear from you. The fact that you're saying I am forced to work 7 days per week is telling me you're doing something you're not willing to do. And we need to learn more because you could very well be qualified for relief to escape the situation and be able to get security here in the US. So give us a call. Don't let this pass. We want to help you. And this is confidential, by the way. Should they apply for tourist visa and come to the US? So the ban applies to the tourist visas. Um, my sister filed an I-130 petition for a mother who is from Niger. If Niger is placed under US travel ban, could her case be denied? If your sister is a US citizen and applied for your mother, as long as they can show that they had the mother-daughter relationship, then they won't they will not ban her. So that's an exception to the rule, to the ban. So I put the number there. So go ahead and give us a call. I put the number in the comments. So go ahead and give us a call. Good night. My wife is a green card holder, so I answered that. Hello there on TikTok. Does it affect I-130 daughter of unmarried permanent resident whose case is at NVC? I don't know. Is it the travel ban? If you're in a country with a ban, it could. Because the ban applies to immediate relatives of U.S. citizens. Those are only spouse, child under 21, and parent of a U.S. citizen age 21 or older. A judge granted me a 212H and green card 60 days ago. Should I be worried about being deported? DHS waived appeal. That's awesome. That's great news. So you got approved. So 212H is the waiver. So you got approved for waiver for inadmissibility, and instead you were given the green card. You got the green card. A judge ordered this. You are good. Did you get your green card? That's the thing. DHS waived the appeal. That means that they're not gonna go ahead and oppose the judge's decision. That's what they mean by they waive the appeal. Um, I have an ITIN. Can I apply for SSN? If so, how should I go about the process? No. If you qualify for a social security number, you can't get an ITIN. If you get an ITIN, it means you don't qualify for a social security number. So the ITIN is there to assist you to file your taxes. And in the case that you own a business, you do provide that ITIN to whoever you're working for, whoever your clients are, so that they can also issue 1099s to you. So it is just a way for you to comply with the tax laws. The IRS has identified that some immigrants don't qualify for social security numbers. The ITIN helps them. Also, the ITIN can help you to get bank accounts here. And in some states, they accept it, in order for accept it as a way to, as a form of identification, and proof that you are complying with tax laws or proof that you have been here for a while in order to get your driver's license in some states. Well, the questions are going very quickly here on TikTok. My friend pending VAWA I-45 for 4 years is saying correspondence to receive, and USCIS is reviewing it 9 months. So yeah, it just is going through the process. Can I C1D visa get status if I married an American citizen? No. But if you have a C1, if you had a C1D and your spouse mistreated you, they're a US citizen or a permanent resident, they mistreated you, yes, that's an exception where you can do adjustment of status through VAWA. But if you're doing adjustment of status through your spouse, the both of you are in it and trying to get your spouse is trying to sponsor you, they will not allow you to adjust status based on the C1D. C1D is crewman's visa. Some people who work on airlines, who work on ships, they have to basically use the C1D to make transfers, say from the ship to the airport, to get to work. That's that one of those visas that if you overstay that, they will not allow you to adjust status unless you're doing a T visa or unless you're doing a VAWA, then that they will make an exception there. Hello, life is strange. Nice to see you. Coda, you're very welcome. I've received T visa receipts, and what is the next process? I am currently working on H-1B visa. Is it recommended to use EAD instead of H-1B for job flexibility? So, there's a lot going on there, but here's a benefit of the work permit. The work permit enables you to work anywhere that you want to work. So you get a work permit, you can make that decision. Now, if you're applying for a T visa and you are experiencing trafficking while you're on the H-1B, then the EAD can offer you an escape from the trafficking situation while you wait for the T visa to be approved. However, I don't know your situation. And that is really a strategic decision that needs a lot of legal considerations to go with it. So, this is where I say definitely talk to the attorney because you need to make sure that you fully understand the pros, the cons. And I just based off this, I don't know what the situation is. So I wouldn't be able to say, yes, it's safe to leave the H-1B to go work on your EAD, but that's what the EAD is for. It's for to allow you to leave and work anywhere you want to work. It's very flexible. What are the consequences if I haven't registered for selective service? So for citizenship, they can deny it. You have to really show that it wasn't intentional or you didn't qualify to apply for selective service. So anybody, mainly men who are between the age of 18 and 26, must register for selective service. That's basically related to the draft. In case they have to do a draft, you are supposed to be registered if you're living here in the US. Say at the time, though, you didn't register because you didn't live here, you were just visiting on visa, you had a visa, then you wouldn't have had the requirement. And there may be other exceptions as well. So definitely get some legal guidance. Does T visa require the medical? No, it doesn't. Now, if you're applying for adjustment of status, it does. Would previous misdemeanor case that was dismissed be considered as no previous criminal history? So if it was dismissed, you were never convicted. I would not say no previous criminal history, but it just depends on the facts here. Because what they do look at past arrests, they still examine arrests, and then they see an arrest, and the next question is what happened? What did the court decide? Did you get found guilty? Did you get moved into a program where it eventually got dismissed? So this is very fact-based. Anything to do with criminal history, you need to get an appointment. And we definitely advise on that. We advise on the risks you face, the consequences, but you need to get in touch with us to talk to us about that. How long does T visa take nowadays? I would say expect about 18 months, and I'm now seeing them kind of heading towards even past 18 months. But right now, we have gotten T visa work permits, and our clients are getting bona fide determination letters that gives them a level of protection. It puts a stay on removal, meaning no deportation while their T visa is being decided. If you get green card through NVC, do you still need to file adjustment of status? Now, the NVC does not, here's the thing, the NVC does not give the green card. Whenever you go through the NVC, it means you're in another country. And the NVC helps to facilitate the process between you and the petitioner and the embassy. The embassy sets the appointment for the interview. You attend the interview. The embassy says, okay, the officer says, okay, looks good. Looks like you qualify for the green card. They approve you for what's called an immigrant visa. The immigrant visa, they give you a certain amount of time, somewhere around 3 to 6 months to fly to or enter the United States, either by the border or by plane or by even ship or boat, to come into the United States, and then they process you there at the airport. Upon your entry, the embassy will give you a package. They'll take your passport, they'll put the immigrant visa into your passport, and then they'll give you a package that contains, your medical and contains all the documentation and proof that you've been approved. It's usually sealed. You're not supposed to open it. You take it with you. And when you're entering, they're going to take it from you. They're going to process you. And once they process the paperwork, they are going to tell you, yes, you are now a green card holder. They're going to stamp an I-551 in your passport and then tell you to wait on the green card in the mail. And then you wait for the green card in the mail. So you don't have to apply for adjustment of status, but you're going to come in with an immigrant visa. And then once you land in the US and you're processed, they give you a green card. If you get so let's see. If your grandparent is filing for you and your dad and you're over 21, will you be able to leave? So there is what's called the Child Status Protection Act, and that there are certain calculations that are made that then allows, even if you've gone to over the age of 21, in some cases, depending on who is filing for you, there are calculations that they make to determine whether you've truly aged out. If you have attained the age, you've gone over the age of 21. With T visa, how many years green card do we get? Now, with the T visa, you don't get the green card. You get a T visa, meaning you get a 4-year status, you get your work permit, you get the ability to get your social, and you do get additional resources because of the nature of this visa. Then after 3 years, you're able to apply through 3 years or even earlier if you want to go for early adjustment of status process. Um, but you officially you can apply at the 3-year mark and apply for adjustment of status. After that, you're able to get your green card. My wife is going to do the citizen next month. What do the case she filed has a green what does she do for the case she filed has a green card as a green card holder? She'll upgrade it. So I think you're saying your wife is going for citizenship. What does she do if she's filed for you? What does she do with that case? If she filed it as a green card holder, she can notify USCIS and they upgrade it. So they upgrade you from the spouse of a green card holder to the spouse of a US citizen. And it means you don't have to worry about the, you know, priority date anymore. There's a fee of 220 to process the green card. Yes. Yeah. So when you get approved for the immigrant visa, then and you're about to come to the US, you pay that immigrant fee. And the immigrant fee is there for them to process and you should print the receipt and then come in with that as well, and they'll process your green card. I have an EAD through U Visa, currently working on H1 visa, got T visa receipts too. Is it safe to use EAD? And so I answered that. When timelines start to get work permit after applying for T visa? So if you've applied after August 28th, then they're gonna consider you for bona fide and then the work permit while you wait. I can tell you about my case. Definitely give us a call. Let's start there, schedule an appointment. Thank you, Yvonne. Give us a call. All right. Let's see more questions. If your EAD expires as an A05, is it too late to apply again to renew it? So if it expires, then you'll be applying for a new one. So if you waited until it expires, you have to apply for a new one. But if you qualify for it, it should not be a problem. It just may go a little slower than the renewal process. If your spouse filed I-730 and USCIS transfer you to DHS, what next if you live in the US? So it depends. So if your spouse filed the I-730, it just depends on, at the facts. I'd have to figure out what the facts are to determine, because if you're now in the US, then it means you'd apply for adjustment of status. So I need to understand the facts here. Will I be able to get a visiting visa if I turn in my green card because of my husband wants me to come? So you can, if you have a green card, you need to address this from multiple perspectives. As a green card holder, if you've been outside of the US for too long, you may be able to go and get what's called an SB1 visa, which is basically like a re-entry permit, a visa that allows you to re-enter the US and then re-establish yourself as a green card holder. That may be but it just depends on the reason you ended up staying out of the US for that long. In some cases, yes, if you surrender your green card, it's not guaranteed. They will evaluate you to determine whether they will give you a visa if you apply for it, but they're going to evaluate you like they would anybody else. If you lack resources, if you have too many ties in the US but not in your country, that could go against you and they could deny you. If you surrender your green card and then apply for a visa, they could deny you. How long does it take after T visa is sent to USCIS for biometrics? I'd say 2 months after you get the receipt notice. How long does it take when you file for your partner as a green card holder? I said 2.5 to 3 years. Is there any way to get around filing for my husband that illegal in the USA while I am a green card holder? Unfortunately, if you're petitioning for him, you citizenship is gonna be the best way. I don't know how far off citizenship is for you, but that's probably gonna be. Now, if he entered the country without permission, that is not going to fix the situation. So that's where you should definitely give us a call because we always look at all the options. Um, can asylum pending adjust on can asylum pending adjust on EB 3 245K? It's possible, but now that's where it really comes down to looking at how many days were you in the US without status, or how many days did you work without permission? Because it really comes down to counting those days to determine whether you could go under 245K. But here's the other problem with asylum is if you've applied for asylum, you no longer have status, then AOS is not possible with employment, right? So with AOS, they do require that you have to have your current status in place, and asylum is not considered an immigration status. So that is where that may be an issue. Can I travel on my visitor's visa while I'm being filed for? They may have questions and they may turn you around based on immigrant intent. If they see that you have a process that is going to be processed very soon at the embassy, they may tell you you go back and wait. Should I cancel my pending VAWA? I recently got a reckless driving conviction. Get legal advice at this time. There may not be a need to cancel, depending on the facts of the reckless driving conviction, because we have to see, does the reckless driving conviction amount to an inadmissibility? Reckless driving can be, it doesn't have to be something major. It doesn't have to be something that renders you inadmissible. So I wouldn't say just jump and withdraw. And by the way, if you do withdraw your VAWA, I would say having a pending VAWA right now means you have a chance, but you just have to address that issue to keep your case moving forward. Give us, if you have your attorney, make sure you're talking to your attorney about it. I submit my T visa file to USCIS. It's almost 2 to 3 months. How long it take to receive files? So right now we are seeing about 3 months to get the receipt notice. When we get work permit after applying T visa after submitting or apply. So I would say right now minimum of 6 months. If a person overstayed their work permit for 3 years, got married, not living with their wife or husband, should they still file their I-130? So it just depends. This is where you need legal advice, because if you're not living together, that is going to raise questions, and we have to understand the facts. Do you consider yourself a bona fide couple? Are you putting yourselves out there as a bona fide couple? Are you separated? Is it not working out? You're just legally married? These are the questions we have to figure out. Did your spouse mistreat you? If your spouse mistreated you, and that's why you're not living together, then the I-130 wouldn't be the solution here. It's going to be the VAWA, but you do have to show that at some point in your marriage you live together. I have received tea, so let's see. Okay. I get my green card and I wonder, do I need a working permit for a job? Absolutely not. You are a green card holder. You get your social just based on the green card. You can work anywhere you want with that green card. So no, you don't need to get travel permission. You don't need to get a work permit or anything like that. That green card is enough. If we married before the 90 days on my wife's tourist visa. So this is where we want to talk to you about your facts. But what I would say is I have had cases like that. While I can't guarantee the same results for future cases, what I can say is I've had cases like that, and it turned out okay. But it is a risk. Getting married within the 90 days of entry is a risk. What if my T visa is denied? Can I be deported? So right now, everybody, not just T visa, everybody who's applying for a benefit, if you are the policy of this administration is if you're denied, yes, they do reserve the right to send it to immigration court, but they're not going to just deport you. You have to go through a process. A judge can reconsider your application or relief that you may have. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to just be picked up and sent out of the country. But nobody is safe right now. So it's not just T's. It's not just people who apply for certain applications. If you apply for a marriage-based application and somehow it gets messed up and you get denied, you could very well get notice to appear after that to appear in immigration court. That's their policy. So it's very important to know that it's not the application you file, it's just their policy across the board, no matter what you apply for. This is why it's important to have legal representation. Carefully consider your qualifications. Make sure that you are looking at your options and weighing the pros and cons. But here's another thing I would say. Um, Nobody is safe. Not making a move is even worse because what I'm seeing is people that have nothing in place are so, so for example, my clients that have been picked up, we have been able to successfully get them released because we go before the court and we show the judge that our clients have a process that they qualify for and they're moving forward with. Now, someone who has nothing in place, even if you get detained and it's time to go before a judge to ask for bond or ask to be released, will have nothing to show for it, right? And or it gets a lot more complex. Sometimes we can apply for something or show the judge that they do qualify and we're in the process of applying, but it gets lengthy. There are delays now because you didn't start early on to establish a process. So right now, I would say your biggest defense and the way to mitigate these risks is to ensure that you are looking at options that you actually qualify for and go for it because none of us are safe. No immigrant is safe right now. Everybody is facing the same risk, except for those who have no protection at all because they didn't make a move. Can I travel with a green card to my country right now? Yes, you can travel, but just know your risks. You know your background. If there's anything you're worried about, make sure you are consulting an attorney, your attorney. Make sure also that you are taking the documentation you need. If you're traveling out of the country, make sure you have your 10-year green card. Unexpired green card is valid. Make sure you have your passport with you and any documentation based on your circumstances. VAWA applicants are safe or not. So I would say I don't know what you mean by that. VAWA applicants, if you're going through a process, then they're not going to deport you while you're going through the process. I mean, there's always the risk because we are seeing people picked up. However, having a process in place means that you have certain defenses and you have ways to show that you deserve that relief. So with VAWA, what I am seeing is they're not in the practice of picking up people that are in the VAWA process. Those who have been approved for VAWA, you are under protected status. Unless they revoke it, you are protected. So you're not susceptible to deportation. But you have to start somewhere, right? VAWA doesn't just fall out of the sky. You have to start somewhere to be able to get to the point where you qualify for the VAWA. If an immigrant is in an employment authorization card extension and has been married over a year to a U.S. citizen, is it best to put in for a change of status now or wait for a new card with date? So this sounds like a strategic question, and to fully be, I'm not giving personalized legal advice here. Everything I say is general information, but what I would say here is, the goal is the green card. It's not your employment authorization is great. Getting the work permit is great because it gives you safety and reassurance while you're waiting. However, if you're married to a U.S. citizen and you can get straight to the green card, why wouldn't you? Because the goal is the green card to get permanent residence. The thing about it is you just want to make sure you submit a solid application. That's where we succeed with our clients, is we submit these applications at the forefront that are solid. Does person with a work permit, social security card be deported if married to citizenship, have child? The risk is low that you would be deported. How long it take to get work permit from T visa and bona fide? A minimum of 6 months. So we see 6 months right now. How long does it take to get an answer for I-130 permanent resident for daughter, 21 years old, single? How long does it take to get that? I'm not sure who's the citizen here. So permanent resident. So I would say it could be a year to 2 years to get a decision on that, and the entire process. They're 21 years or old. So the entire process, unfortunately, is lengthy. It's a 5 to 7 year process. Please, is the TPS also cancel for people who had it since? So once they cancel TPS, yes, it's not available to everybody. If our applicant, can a green card holder, is it safe with no criminal record? That's one big major concern, that if you don't have that concern, that's one less thing to worry about. If you have a question, put it in. My wife has a court date next month. I get an attorney already for the hearing, just work permit. Okay, I didn't see the rest of that question. What is advanced parole? It's a travel document. It allows people who are going through certain processes like adjustment of status to travel. But I'm being very conservative. I do want people to have their travel document, but have it in case of emergencies. I'm very conservative about travel right now. I got asylum approved 2023. I haven't adjusted my status to green card. Is it safe for me to do it right now? So they have paused the green card process. But just because they pause, it doesn't mean you shouldn't apply for it. It's just that it's going to take a longer time, and it is in litigation, so a judge may order them to continue processing those. After a status case is submitted to USCIS, what happens next? So once it's submitted, then you get the receipt notice. It's likely a biometrics fingerprinting appointment, a very fast appointment, 15 minutes. No, it's not an interview. Just go and take your picture, give them your signature and fingerprints, and then they let you go. So that's usually the next step. And then depending on what kind of case it is, you're looking at bona fide determination or a work permit, depending on the case. Good night. But the visa bulletin for F2B category is not moving one bit. It's very frustrating. Absolutely. Do I need to include two traffic tickets I had back in 2019 for my upcoming I-751 application? I didn't include these for my I-45 by mistake on 2022 interview waived. This is a little more complicated. I would say I can't, I would say this is, there's a lot of strategy that has to go into this because that is now traffic. Sometimes what they say is the traffic tickets is not necessarily considered um, a major criminal offense. So it's not usually going to have severe consequences that come along with it for traffic tickets, right? But I would say get legal advice for sure. Disclosing, providing information before they have to raise that is sometimes a good strategy, but I wouldn't be able to tell you to do that specifically because I'm not your attorney. I don't know what's in your case. I don't know the full facts behind it. And so that's very crucial to evaluate before telling you to make any moves here or what moves you should make here. But traffic tickets don't usually get you barred. So, it's not very material. If the citizen is retired military veteran, is there any expedition with process for filing change of status for their immigrant spouse? It may be, depending on what circumstances are. So if the veteran is experiencing certain hardships, then that could be a compelling reason for an expedite. I got approved for my 10-year on the spot last week. Congratulations. I-130 was approved. Maybe that's why. So once the I-130 is approved, you've jumped a big hurdle. I-130 usually means you've proven the bona fides of the marriage. And that is the really sticky point, is the bona fides of the marriage-based process. Once you get through that and you don't have any other concerns in your background, it's usually clear, calm waters from there. Please tap, guys. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Absolutely. I appreciate your support and love. That's right. When you tap the screen, that means other people get information that empowers them through their immigration journey. So thank you for the love, the gifts, and the hearts, the likes. I really appreciate this. My fiance got approved at 16th of April, and I don't hear anything from NVC. I reached out to them. Yeah, so NVC can take 3 months to April to May, May to June. They can actually take about 3 months to reply. So if you submitted documentation, they will literally take 3 months to tell you whether the documents look good or not. So this is why working with NVC, you want to minimize mistakes because mistakes can actually delay you by 6 months, one mistake. So if you submit it, takes 3 months for them to say, oh, you made a mistake, resubmit that document, and then you hurry up, resubmit it within maybe a day or two. And then it takes another 3 months for them to say, okay, this one looks good, we'll accept it. Have you seen people who stayed on a border crossing card and years later married a US citizen be able to adjust status? So I would have to evaluate whether the border crossing card is a form of admission. If it's a form of admission, then adjustment of status is possible. So I'd have to look at that, verify that information. Um, how long does USCIS take to upgrade an I-130 F2A to IRCR after receiving the case upgrade request? So usually I would see it, it depends on where they are. So are they outside of the country? If they're outside of the country, I would say it's the same NVC, in about 3 months, after you notify NVC, they say great, it's upgraded. With USCIS, I would say as soon as I get it around the same amount of time, if you don't hear anything within a few months, you need to make sure you contact them again. What happened after you removal of condition gets denied? Then they're going to send you a notice to appear, and you will have a second chance to present the removal of conditions to the judge to show that your marriage is bona fide or that you deserve a waiver based on divorce, based on mistreatment or abuse or extreme hardship. Um, in some cases, if you can refile it before they issue a notice to appear, they may also they may accept it. So we have seen that as well. I need help with my daughter. We filed together more than 2 years. She has not gotten her green card yet. So it may be just even though you filed at the same time, they may be filing separately. So we'd have to understand the facts, understand, is she a derivative? Is is her case filed individually in order to advise about whether that's normal? But yes, it can be normal. How long after documentarily qualified will you get your appointment at the US Embassy? So a year and a half, I would say a year and a half, sometimes even 2 years in some countries to get that interview. I'm seeing on average a year and a half. And yes, it's very frustrating. How long does it take for one to get a travel document? It depends on if VAWA, you're looking at 6 to 12 months. If family based or marriage based, you're looking at 3 to 6 months. If employment based, 3 to 6 months. I need help with my daughter, so I answered that. How do you file for hardship? So it depends on what hardship. I-751, if it's an I-751, then you would file a regular, if you're before the court, you have to make the pleadings before the court. If you are doing at USCIS, you just check, you basically check a box on the I-751 form. This is where though it's not time to do it yourself. Get in touch with us. This is what we do, right? We make it our part of our mission to help as many people as possible. That's what we're here for, guys. We're here to understand the complexities of the system and to navigate it. So this is where you need to get in touch with us and have us or another attorney, if not us, another experienced immigration attorney, take that burden for you and do it right. Now is not the time to make any mistakes. F2A will become current in July. How long will it take? Never filed I-131. Can I travel out of the US? If you're going through adjustment of status, you need to have a travel document before you leave. A lot of people make the mistake of their visa doesn't expire and they think they can still travel on their visa. If you're doing adjustment of status, you must leave the country with a travel document or not leave at all and wait on your green card. My wife's original 1 year OPT passed, but fortunately, she's in the process of waiting for approval of the OPT extension. Okay, so it sounds like she's going through the process. So let's hope and pray she gets that approval. Got married, case approved, and got the green card, but never filed I-131. Can I travel out of the US? You have your green card. You do not need a travel document. You don't need a work permit. You are supposed to go back to your employer and say, I am a green card holder. Here's my green card now. And they're going to change your status to a green card holder. Make sure you go to Social Security office. Make sure you go to the DMV and you change that from immigrant, a non-immigrant or basically an immigrant to permanent resident so that So that if police stops you or anybody stops you and they run your license, it's still not showing that you have temporary status, that you are a permanent resident. Um, all right, it's always nice to be here with you. Thank you so much, Bernard, and God bless you too. It's always nice. These are excellent questions. I really appreciate them, and I'm so glad I finally get to connect with you all on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok, finally without any technical difficulties. So I'm going to continue to do it this way so we can connect and not have to we can have a smooth process. I mean, there's always times where we'll have issues. So I really appreciate your patience and all these great questions. I will work on coming back. So follow me, like, subscribe. That way, when I come on, you know I'll come on and you can ask your questions. If I didn't get to answer your questions tonight, actually, I'm gonna do one more thing. I didn't get to have Instagram on, so I'm gonna be on Instagram next. So if you want to join me there, I'm immigration lawyer Sharifa. Join me on Instagram. I'm gonna try to do another 20 minutes there because I didn't get to put them in on the conversation. So if you want to do that now, I'm heading over there right now. So you can do that if I didn't get to answer your questions, and you can join me there. All right. So have a good night if I don't see you on Instagram, and or I might see you tomorrow. For those of you who are celebrating Juneteenth, happy Juneteenth. Well, it is a day for us to also observe history and a major day in history for us, descendants of people who fought for our freedom from slavery. So, let's treat the day with reverence, but celebrate at the same time. Have a good one, everybody. Bye bye.